Good morning and welcome to another legislative day here at the Senate Chamber of the National Assembly in the nation's capital city of Abuja. I am Vivian Idekwe for welcoming you to the outside broadcast service of the largest television network in Africa, talking about the NTA. And I have with me to tell us what is on the other paper for the legislators to discuss today, the acting Senate spokesperson, Senator Akwashiki Godia. Senator, what is on the other paper that has the attention of the senators today?
Yes, thank you very much, my sister, for coming to let Nigeria and the Nigerians to know what will happen in the chamber of the Senate today. Among the other paper today, we have 12 bills at first reading. Amongst one, Electoral Offences Commission Bill 2019 SB 220, first reading, sponsored by Senator Kyari Abubakar Shabi Borno North, and Public Service Efficiency Bill 2019 SB 223, first reading, sponsored by Senator Abdullahi Aliyu Sabi Nanja North. And we have other reports, like 3 reports that we presented today. 1, report of the 3rd Ordinary Session, 5th Parliament of the Pan-Africa Parliament, led by Senator Na Alabala Ibn Kebbi North. And report of the Senate Committee on Police Affairs, led by Senator Jika Dauda Haliru Bauchi Central, who happens to be the chairman of the Senate Committee on Police Affairs. And 3 report of the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions, Senator Ekenyuleru Patrick Ayo Ondo Central, who will submit that report before the Senate. And other bills that will be at the second reading today include 1, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal College of Education, Giwa, Kaduna State, and for other related matters, year 2019 SB 121 at the second reading, sponsored by Senator Sani Ubak, Kaduna Central. Also, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal University, Goshua, and for other related matters, year 2019 SB 25, second reading, sponsored by Senator Alhaji Ya'u Sahabi Zamfara North. A bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the City University of Technology, Auchi, and for other related matters, 2019 SB 22, second reading, sponsored by Senator Alemikane Francis Ido North. And also a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal College of Education, Usogbone Ero, and for other matters connected to 2019 SB 128, second reading. And we also have 3 motions that will be presented before the Senate today. 1, the need to pay attention to the plight of border communities in Nigeria, sponsored by Senator Umar Sadiq Suleiman, Kwara North, and 30 other senators. Also, a motion sponsored by the need to investigate the degree of enforcement of abandonment and the commission of obligation in oil and gas exploration contracts, sponsored by Senator Basi Gisom Henry, Cross River, and 5 other senators. Also, lastly, a motion today sponsored by Senator Yakubu Oseni, Kogi Central, that is the growth of digital technology and the challenges of cybercrime, urgent need to safeguard the future of Nigeria and Nigerians. These are 3 things that Senate today will discuss in the Red Chamber of the National Assembly.
Thank you, Acting Spokesperson of the Senate.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So we now take you right into the chamber where the discussion on all these bills and motions will take place.
Leader of the Senate. Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the second business of the day is the presentation of our bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Ike Ekoremadu on the Federal Polytechnic Impu Establishment Etc. Bill 2019. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal Polytechnic Impu Establishment Etc. Bill 2019 SB 209, first reading.
Federal Polytechnic Impu Establishment Etc. Bill 2019 SB 209, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the third business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name.
Distinguished Senator Matthew Eragire, please allow Senator Betty Apiafi to take her seat.
The third business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Chuku Kawutadi on the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency Act, Cap N69, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 Amendment Bill 2019. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency Act, Cap N69, LFN 2004, Amendment Bill 2019, SB 215, first reading.
National Primary Healthcare Development Agency Act, Cap N69, LFN 2004, Amendment Bill 2019, SB 215, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fourth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Olubunmi Ayodeji Adetumbi on the published works of persons with disabilities bills 2019. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, published works of Persons with Disabilities Bill 2019, SB 217, first reading.
Published works of Persons with Disabilities Bill 2019, SB 217, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fifth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing of the name of distinguished Senator Abubakar Kyari on the Electoral Offences Commission Establishment etc. Bill 2019. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Electoral Offences Commission Establishment Extra Bill 2019, SB 220, first reading.
Electoral Offences Commission Establishment etc. Bill 2019, SB 220, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the sixth business of the day is the presentation of our bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Aliu Sabi Abdullahi on the Public Service Efficiency Bill 2019. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Public Service Efficiency Bill 2019, SB 223, first reading.
Public Service Efficiency Bill 2019, SB 223, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the seventh business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Teslim Folari on the Incandescent Light Bulb Prohibition Bill 2019. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Incandescent Light Bulbs Prohibition Bill 2019, SB 225, first read.
Incandescent Light Bulbs Prohibition Bill 2019, SB 225, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the eighth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Ibrahim Yahya Oloregbe on Federal College of Education Special, Afon, Kwara State Establishment, etc. Bill 2019. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal College of Education Special, Afon, Kwara State Establishment Extra Bill 2019, SB 226, first reading.
Federal College of Education Special F1 Kwara State Establishment etc. Bill 2019, SB 226, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the ninth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Ibukule Amosu on the Child Rights Act 2003 Amendment Bill 2019. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Child Rights Act 2003, Amendment Bill 2019, SB 227, first reading.
Child Rights Act 2003, Amendment Bill 2019, SB 227, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the 10th business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of the distinguished Senator Philip Ndumu Aduda on Federal Capital Territory University of Science and Technology, Abaji, Establishment, etc. Bill 2019. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, FCT University of Science and Technology, Abaji, Establishment, etc. Bill 2019, SB 230, first reading.
FCT University of Science and Technology, Abaji, Establishment, etc. Bill 2019, SB 230, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the 11th business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Mohammed Sani Musa on the Federal Medical Center, Kuta, Niger State Establishment, etc. Bill 2019. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal Medical Center, Kuta, Niger State, Establishment, etc. Bill 2019, SB 233, first.
Federal Medical Center, Kuta, Niger State Establishment, etc. Bill 2019, SB 233, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the 12th business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Patrick Abamoro on the North Central Development Commission Establishment, etc. Bill 2019. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, North Central Development Commission, Establishment, etc. Bill 2019, SB 234, first reading.
North Central Development Commission Establishment, etc. Bill 2019, SB 234, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the 13th business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Ifeanyi Uba on the National Institute for Security and Strategic Studies, Orumba, Anambra State Establishment, etc. Bill 2019. Mr. President, we may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, National Institute for Security and Strategic Studies, Orumba, etc. Bill 2019, SB 235, first reading.
National Institute for Security and Strategic Studies, Orumba, Anambra State Establishment, etc. Bill 2019, SB 235, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the 14th business of the day is the presentation of the report of the third ordinary session, that is the 5th Parliament of the Pan-African Parliament. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Bala Ibn Na'Allah, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the Senate to receive the report.
Senator Bala Ibn Na'Allah.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, I move that this Senate do receive the report of the third ordinary session, 5th Parliament of the Pan-African Parliament, held at the Parliament Building, Gallagher Estate, Midrand, Republic of South Africa, from Wednesday, the 2nd day to Friday, the 18th day of October, 2019. I so move.
Very distinguished Senator James Manager.
Thank you, Mr. President. My highly respected colleagues, James Manager is my name, from Delta South. I rise to second the motion ably moved, although I've never been a member of this of this parliament for many, many years. I have never been a member, but I second the motion ably moved by Senator Nahala. Thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity.
So you grudgingly seconded, but it's not his fault. Maybe as an elder of the Senate, your attention is always needed in the chamber. That perhaps explains. So, distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do receive the report of the third ordinary session, 5th Parliament of the Pan-African Parliament, held at the Parliament Building, Galaga Estate in South Africa, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Please lay your report. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the 15th business of the day is the presentation of the report of the Committee on Police Affairs on the rescue of 9 children that were allegedly kidnapped and trafficked at various times within the span of 5 years in the country. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Dauda Haliru Dika, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the Senate to receive the report.
Senator Haliru Dauda Dika.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished Senators, Haliru Dauda Dika, representing Bauchi Central. I rise humbly to move that the Senate do receive the report of the Senate Committee on Police Affairs on the news report about rescue of 9 children that were allegedly kidnapped and trafficked out various times within the span of 5 years in the country. Mr. President, distinguished Senators, I so move. Thank you.
I need a seconder. Yes, Senator Abomoro.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Senator Abba Patrick Moro. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my colleague, Senator Jika, that the Senate do receive the report on the rescue of children who have been allegedly kidnapped and trafficked at various times in the country. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that we receive the report say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Please lay the report. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the 16th business of the day is the presentation of reports of the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petition. The first petition, A, is petition from Mr. M.S. Chado, Esquire, on behalf of Mr. Isa Ndagi Mayaki against the National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control, NAFDAC, for unlawful termination of his appointment over alleged forgery by the agency. B, petition from Rex Onyekachi Ozoegbu Esquire on behalf of Chief Ezekiel Ariae and Chief James Wege against the Nigerian Ajib Oil Company, NAOC Limited, for alleged inhumanity, cruelty, servitude, flagrant disobedience to law of equity, social justice, bad conscience, and deliberate continuous refusal to adequately compensate Chief Ezekiel Ariae and Chief James Wege for their life-threatening great bodily harm by NAOC. And C, petition from Mr. Ekem Fulkari M. Yerima against the National Examination Council, NECO, for allegedly unlawfully dismissing him from service. Number 2, Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Patrick Akinyelure, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the Senate to receive the report.
Senator Patrick Ayo Akinyelure.
Thank you, Mr. President. distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Akin Elore. I represent Ondo Central. Mr. President, I move that the Senate do receive the report of Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petition in respect of A, petition from MS Chado Eskia on behalf of Mr. Isa Ndagi Mayaki against the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, for unlawful termination of his appointment over alleged forgery by the agency. B, petition from Rex Onyakaki Ezeubu Eskia on behalf of Ezekiel Ariaye and Chief James Wege against the Nigerian Agif Company, NAOK Limited, for alleged inhumanity, cruelty, servitude, flagrant disobedience to law of equity, social justice, bad conscience, and deliberate continuous threatening, and deliberate continuous refusal to adequately compensate Chief Ezekiel Ariaye and Chief James Wege for their life-threatening great bodily harm by NAOK. And C, petition from Mensa Nkerafi and Yerima, Yerima, against National Examining Council, NECO, for alleged unlawful dismissal for service of the institution. Mr. President, may I seek your permission to lay the petition before the Senate of Federal Republic of Nigeria? I so move, Mr. President.
I need a Senator Adiola Solomon Olamilekon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleague, Adiola Solomon Olamilekon. I rise to second the motion as moved by Senator Akin Elore. I so second.
Your fellow accountant, chartered. Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that we receive the report, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. You may lay the report, please. Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. My highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the first order of the day is the second reading of the Federal College of Education, Giwa, Kaduna State Establishment, etc. Bill 2019. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Tuesday, 29th October 2019. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Obasani to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Senator Obasani.
Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, my name is Obasani. I represent Kaduna Central. I'm from Kaduna State. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, permit me to lead the debate on this very important bill for the establishment of Federal College of Education in Giwa, local government area of Kaduna State. The bill was read for the first time in this hallowed chamber on Tuesday, 29 October 2019. It is no longer news that the educational system in Nigeria is in crisis. The situation in the north is worse. A recent UNICEF survey came up with some very scary statistics. The population of out-of-school children in Nigeria has risen from 10.5 million to 13.2 million. There has been mass failure of students in WAEC and NECO examinations. For those who pass out of secondary schools, getting admission into tertiary institutions is now a equivalent task due to limited spaces. In 2017, 1.8 million candidates who registered for the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME, jostled for about 850,000 admission spaces. A key issue that has been raised, irrespective of the falling the standard of our education, is the quality of teachers in our primary and secondary schools. A time there was in Nigeria when teachers' colleges and colleges of education were given priority attention by the government. The quality teachers they produce raised the standard of our education. The teaching profession commanded the respect and admiration of Nigerians. Since the road set in, teaching has become an all-comers affair. Schools hardly insist on employing only those who have gone through formal teachers' training. The consequence has been a steady drop in the quality of students we produced. It is time we focus attention on teachers' colleges and colleges of education. Mr. President, my highly respected, distinguished colleagues, we must address the quality teachers' deficit in our educational system. The proposed Federal College of Education, Giwa, Kaduna State, will make a vital contribution in this regard. Some of the objectives of the college as outlined in the bills are as follows. A, to bring quality change in education by focusing on teacher education through teaching and learning innovations. B, to develop and offer academic and professional programs leading to the award of certificates, first degrees, postgraduate research, diploma and higher degrees with emphasis on planning, developmental and adaptive skills in education, technology, applied science, agriculture, commerce, arts, social science, humanities, management, and allied professional disciplines. C, to act as agents and catalysts for effective educational system through postgraduate training, research, and innovation, for effective economic utilization and conservation of the country's human resources. D, to collaborate with other national and international institutions involved in training, research, and development of education with a view to promoting governance, leadership, and management skills among educational managers. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, who are children, quality education. That is the only way they can compete effectively in the global-driven economy. Quality education is the key to unlocking opportunities. As leaders, we are in a position to better understand and appreciate the value of education as a critical tool for economic growth and development. It is therefore our responsibility as representative of the people to ensure that we channel funds to serve the most critical needs of the people, amongst which is the provision of qualitative education. I therefore urge Mr. President and my respected colleagues to support that this bill be read a second time. In line with Order 73, subsection 3 of the Senate Standing Orders 2015 as amended, a compendium of financial implications of the establishment of the Federal College of Education, Giwa, Kaduna State is hereby attached. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, my highly respected colleagues. I so move.
Distinguished Senator Kabir Barkia.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I rise to support this very, very important bill for the second reading, and also to add that, yes, if we look at what is stated in the bill, the condition of our education nowadays, especially in the northern part of the country. So it's high time, Mr. President, to say that at least the minimum qualification for a teacher in a primary school should be NCE. Because if you, the teachers' college are not there, of which, of course, I know before almost all local governments have a teachers' college, but they were converted to secondary schools. So therefore, if we continue this one, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, definitely we wake up one day that, yes, all this, the teachers that will be teaching our children in primary school will be just also like the pupils themselves. Because I'm sure everybody knows, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, almost 70% of our teachers now in primary schools, in fact, they don't even know what they are teaching. I could quote one of the governors in the northern part, of course, particular of Kaduna State. He conducted a test or an exam to all the teachers teaching in the primary school. At the end of the day, in fact, the percentage that, of course, could teach properly was very small. So therefore, to establish federal quality of education, to make sure that we have qualitative teachers that will teach in our primary school, because primary school is always the basic foundation of the education of the President, distinguished colleagues. Therefore, we have to I'm calling on all the distinguished colleagues to support this bill and also establishing all other federal college of educations that was brought to this chamber. I so second Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Thank you very much.
Senator Sandy Ono.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sandy Ono, Cross River Central. Mr. President, it wasn't too long ago that Kaduna State was in the news. The governor of that state had come out openly and boldly upon x-raying the educational system in the state to speak to the issue of the poor quality of teachers in most of the schools in his state. He has done a lot trying to find ways and means of tackling the matter because we know how fundamental good teaching is to proper education. In this country, we have had many bad products educationally because those who teach them hardly know anything beyond what those they are teaching know. Our colleague, therefore, has come to us with this bill for the establishment of the Federal College of Education, GIWA, knowing fully well the challenge that this state has. And I'm sure geared to support the governor to make sure that there is a turnaround for good. Kaduna State is a key state in this country, and we must all join hands to give fillip to the efforts to ensure that quality education is given to the pupils and students in that state. I would therefore unequivocally support this bill, knowing fully well that it will do well to the people of Kaduna and to Nigerians at large, because I know many Nigerians who live in Kaduna do not want to leave Kaduna at all. I don't know what is in Kaduna, but we must support this bill because it will do our people well there. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Heidi Gyan.
Thank you, distinguished President and colleagues. I am Senator Heidi Gyan from Plateau North, and I rise to lend my voice to this bill calling for the establishment of the College of Education, GIWA, in Kaduna State, and rising to express support with the concern that we have witnessed, particularly the vexed issue of out-of-school children that has characterized the northern part of the country, particularly the northwest. And as steps are being taken to address this vexed issue through aggressive enrollment of pupils and students, the other issue would be once the enrollment is attained and achieved, the issue of teachers will come in. And just like the last speaker said, the issue of lack of teachers that meet up the teaching requirement in Kaduna State was witnessed and became an issue that generated a lot of apprehension. This requires that we have to have an institution that will train teachers that will be deployed to provide the necessary manpower in the schools. So it is not enough for us to have infrastructure, education infrastructure. It's not enough for us to have enrollment, but it's critical that we have the right staff and teachers that will man the schools so established. I therefore support very eminently the establishment of this College of Education in Giwa, Kaduna State, so that we do not have only the hardware in education, but the software, that is the teachers that will man the institutions. I therefore support the establishment of this college. Thank you.
Is there any more contributions? Okay, I'll put the question. Those in favor that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal College of Education, Giwa, Kaduna State, and for other related matter thereof, 2019, second reading.
A bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal College of Education, Giwa, Kaduna State, and for other related matters thereof, 2019, second reading taken, and bill is referred to the Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund and to report back within 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the second order of the day is the second reading of the Federal University of Gusau Establishment Bill 2019. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Tuesday, 8th October 2019. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Sahabi Alhajiawu to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Deputy Minority Whip, distinguished Senator Sahabi Alhajiawu.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Sahabi Alhajiawu, representing Zamfara North Senatorial District. Mr. President, my highly distinguished colleagues, thank you for giving me the opportunity to lead this debate for the second reading of a bill to establish Federal University of Gusau SB 25, 2019. Your Excellency, the President of the Senate, my distinguished and respected colleagues, I stand before this hallowed chamber to lead a debate on general principles of the bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Gusau in Zamfara State. The bill was first read on October 8, 2019. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, Zamfara State is desirous to have a Federal University established in the state. By supporting this bill, my dear colleagues, the students of Zamfara extraction and indeed other prospective students from within and outside the catchment area will appreciate your kind passage of this bill to ensure increased and adequate knowledge and educational value chain. There is no amount of effort we put in education that will be a wasted one. Indeed, it is our responsibility to ensure qualitative and quantitative education is provided to all citizens of this country. Mr. President, my respected colleagues, I seek for individual and collective support in favor of this bill. By so doing, you will be assisting Zamfara State to stabilize and be as other states are, having suffered in recent past from sustained banditry and insurgency. The stability the state is enjoying now can be consolidated if students of the state origin are properly educated. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, permit me to inform you further that the Federal Executive Council, PEC, in its sitting on January 9, 2013, approved the establishment of 3 federal universities, Oyobe in Gashua, Kebbi State in Birnin Kebbi, and Zamfara State in Gusau. the university commenced its activities based on a presidential period and mandate. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, the target of the federal government is to have at least one federal university in every state in Nigeria, and Zamfara State happens to be one of those states. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, the proposed catchment area of the Federal University Gusau, Gusau, the 7 states of the Northwest, 3 North Central states of Niger, Kwara, and Kogi. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, as I appeal for your support and subsequent approval of this bill for establishment of the Federal University Gusau, the remote and primary constituency of the university is Zamfara State, which has a population of over 3 million people. The university, riding on the presidential period and the mandate of at least one federal university per state concept, matriculated its first intake in 2014. The degree program started in 2015. The university is scheduled to have its first convocation very soon. Hence, this appeal, Mr. President, and my respected colleagues, I solicit for your kind support and passage of the Federal University Gusau Establishment Bill, second reading. Mr. President and respected colleagues, the university, when established, may, among other relevant courses, establish faculties of geosciences and solid mineral exploration to complement the revenue base of the country. This we need now more than ever. Zamfara State, like other key solid mineral states, is home to a variety of solid mineral resources, which is largely untapped and largely illegal mined, thereby depriving the country of large revenue base. In compliance with Order 77.3 of the Senate Standing Rules, I state this bill has no extraordinary financial implications other than the ones the federal government has been providing for in respect budgets and have been making steady provisions as follows. In Exhibit 1, it is my humble request to you all, my respected colleagues, and urge you to support the passage of this bill for the second reading. I so move, Mr. President. Thank you.
Senator Mohamed Adamalero.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Mr. President, I rise to second the bill sponsored by distinguished Senator Sahabia. Mr. President, this is a very simple bill because already the university is in existence. It has already turned out 2 or 3 sets of graduates. What is required is to give it a legal backing. If we pass this bill into law, it will give the university the necessary legal support it requires to operate. As you rightly said, Zamfara State perhaps is the only state in the Northwest that has no university. There are some states in the Northwest that have up to about 3 universities. So this is the first university Zamfara State will have. So on compassionate ground, I urge all my colleagues to support the passage of this bill into law so that Zamfara State will have one university. But not only that, Mr. President, Zamfara and the other states that are neighboring Zamfara are educationally disadvantaged. There are so many students or so many children that are out of school. The establishment of this university will certainly give a boost to the education in this area or in this state. So for that reason, this bill should be supported by all and sundry. And I urge my colleagues to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Distinguished Senator Rochas Okorocha, you raise your hand.
Yes. Mr. Senate President, anytime issue of education comes up, whether I raise my hand, I don't raise my hand, please call me. Mr. President, education is no longer a means to life, but life itself. And education represents light, while illiteracy represents darkness. What the distinguished senator from Zamfara is saying to us is that there's darkness in Zamfara due to lack of education. So, I rise to support this very motion, not necessarily because Zamfara doesn't have a university, but because there's urgent need for us to educate the people of Zamfara, and especially the north itself, particularly northwest. In my holy book, the Bible, our Lord Jesus Christ said they have eyes, but they cannot see. What it means that they're illiterate. In the holy book, Quran, he said, Ikra, read, because they know the danger of not reading and not communicating with fellow beings. My worry is that if we do not take this urgency of now, which this ugly, illiterate condition points us from the north, one day as we exit, we might be having people, senators from the north, who will not communicate in English language. So it's a thing that concerns all of us. And Nigerians must understand that illiteracy in the north has direct negative impact in other parts of this country. So the matter of education concerns all of us. I wish there could be a general bill that says to everybody, listen, we do not have enough schools and tertiary institutions in Nigeria. Let's create as many as possible that can help to remove this illiteracy in this country. So I support Zamfara for this their university to start as quickly as possible, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Senator James Manager.
Thank you, Mr. President. My highly respected colleagues, James Ebiowo, Manager, Delta South. Mr. President, my respected colleagues, I rise to also lend my voice in supporting this particular bill, sponsored by my colleague and, of course, my ally, my friend. We are seated one after the other. Mr. President, I support this bill for so many reasons. This is about education, and as is reflected in the body of the lead debate, no amount of effort we put into education that is too much. And of course, Mr. President, an educated mind is a very unique asset. I don't believe the Zamfara state is in darkness, as pointed out by the last speaker. Zamfara state, there is light in the Zamfara state, but we want to ensure that there's university in that environment. And that's the reason why some very enlightened minds are here, like the sponsor of this bill. So, Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues, this is a university that is already in existence. And it is about to even go into a convocation ceremony. So what is important now is to give a legal bite to it. And that is the reason for this particular bill. And in compliance with Order 77 of our rules, there is the compendium, the financial compendium that is attached. So this bill appears to have satisfied all requirements. Since the university is already in existence, and from the contributions of Alero, it is very clear that that is the only state in the entire Northwest that you have no federal university. There are some states with about 2 or 3 federal universities. So why must Zamfara State be cheated all this long? Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues, I support this bill with everything in me. And I want to ask every other colleague to support this bill. It is a very straightforward bill. Mr. President, I support it wholeheartedly. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. I will put the question. Those in favor that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the Federal University, Gusau, to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for other related matters, 2019, second reading.
A bill for an act to establish the Federal University, Gusau, to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for other related matters, 2019, second reading taken, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and Debt Fund and to be reported within 4 weeks. Thank you very much, distinguished colleagues. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the third order of the day is the second reading of the City University of Technology, Auchi, Establishment, etc. Bill 2019. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Thursday, 3rd October 2019. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Francis Ali Makeda to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Distinguished Senator Francis Ali Makeda, Edo North.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Francis Ali Makeda, representing the good people of Edo North. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, thank you for the opportunity to lead the debate on the general principle of the University of Technology, Auchi, Bill 2019. You will recall that this bill was read for the first time on Thursday, 3rd of October 2019. The bill essentially seeks to transform the Federal Polytechnic, Auchi, to University of Technology, Auchi. The Nigeria Steady March towards education for all in the shortest possible time have taken a giant leap with the introduction of this bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the University of Technology, Auchi, and other related matters. I am personally excited by the prospect of the transforming the Polytechnic to a University of Technology, not because it is based in my senatorial district, but because it will motivate both students and academic staff, just as we upgrade its facility and enhance the capability to achieve its objectives. Similarly, the University of Technology will encourage the advancement of learning and hold out to all persons without distinctions of race, creed, sex, or political conviction the opportunity of acquiring a higher and liberal education. It will also do the following: provide courses of instructions and facilities for the pursuit of learning in all its branches and to make those facilities available on proper terms to such persons as to equip to benefit from them. B, encourage and promote scholarship and conduct research in all fields of learning with emphasis on technical education. C, relate its activity to social, cultural, and economic needs of the people of Nigeria. And D, undertake any other activities appropriate for a university of the highest standards. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I recall that in similar circumstances in the United Kingdom, most of its polytechnics were upgraded to universities. For instance, the former Polytechnic of Central London became the University of Westminster. South Park Polytechnic became the University of South Park. With the Polytechnic of North London became the University of North London. It should not be seen that we in Nigeria are copying them, but it is simply the reality of the day we live in. If Nigeria has planned, should aim to become one of the world's 20 leading economies of the world by 2020, as currently being pursued by government, we must be ready to adjust and position our educational institutions so that its products are geared for the technological challenges inherent in such projections. Our educational authorities are moving to revamp our institution for these objectives. I'm aware of similar bills for the upgrade of the Yaba College of Technology into the University of Technology Yaba and Kaduna Polytechnic to University of Kaduna. And these are first-class polytechnics of the same status with Auchi Polytechnics. Therefore, Auchi Polytechnic cannot be left out of this upgrade. In this age of information technology, there is no going back in ensuring that we meet up with these international realities. The University of Technology, Auchi, when enacted by the National Assembly, we have power to establish such campuses, colleges, faculties, institutes, school, extramural department, and other teaching and research units within the university as may from time to time seem necessary to or desirable, subject to approval of the National University Commission. It will also, one, institute professorship, leadership, lectureship, and other posts and offices, and to make appointment thereto. Two, institute and awards, fellowship, scholarship, exhibitions, bursaries, medals, prizes, and other titles, distinctions, awards, and form of assistance. Three, provide for the discipline and welfare of members of the university. Four, hold examinations and grant degrees, diplomas, certificates, and other distinctions to persons who have pursued a course of studies and approved by the university, among other activities. Five, grant honorary degree, fellowship, or academic titles. To ensure continuity in the administration of the university, it is provided in Section 8 that all property held on behalf of the Federal Polytechnic Auchi shall be vested in the university and be held by it for the purpose of the university. Notably, all staffs of the polytechnics are hereby transferred to the university, and previous services in the polytechnic shall count as services for the purpose of any person payable by the university. Given its age and achievement, as well as the requirement of the Nigerian economy, it is clear that with the enactment of this bill, the institute will focus on the so-called STEM, science, technology, and engineering and mathematics courses. The attainment of the university status would definitely enhance the operation of Auchi Polytechnic and clarify its mission and vision. It is definitely old enough. Its facilities are superior to those found in many other Nigerian universities, and with the arguable exception of very few in the country. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, the institution is prepared to undertake the educational and other modifications that are necessary of transforming to a university. The institution is also prepared to remain true to its core mandate of producing well-trained manpower capable of driving the technological management and business goals of the nation. In this regard, it will seek to emulate the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, which has built upon a tradition of distinction to become one of the world's foremost educational institutions. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I fully certify that the provisions in this bill are adequate to ensure the takeoff of the proposed university, and I will not hesitate to encourage my colleagues to support it in all stages of its journey to become a law of the Federation of Nigeria. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I wish to state that there is no financial implication to this bill. All the operational structures are already in place, and the university is taking over from its existing Federal Polytechnic Auchi with the same budgetary provision. I therefore urge all my colleagues the full support of this bill. I so move, Mr. President.
I need a seconder. Senator Oluremi Tinubu.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Oluremi Tinubu, and I rise to second this very, very laudable bill. Can I have it? By our distinguished leader, Senator Francis Alemekene, for the upgrade of Auchi Polytechnic to University of Technology. Is already giving very, very good examples of universities that have done that in developed world. And I can remember MIT in Boston is one of the best schools in Boston today. And we can only move higher education-wise. And I believe that other schools can even start up as polytechnics. Once Auchi has been there for a long time. I'm also a product of Adeyemi College of Education, and we were the set that, were the pioneer set that they started the pre-degree that after 3 years you can go on to have your BSc. And we did that successfully, and Adeyemi is awarding BScs and, BAs today. And I believe that if we can do that to Auchi is a very reputable school. And because I thought, I was looking at, I belong to the Committee on Tertiary Institution. I was wondering that so many universities that we wanted, but listening to his bill critically, I thought the time is now, and the time is due for us to move ahead. If we want to take this country to the next level, this is the best way to start. And if we are doing that to Yaba College of Technology and also notably notable institutions around the country, I believe that the time is now and the time is right. So I so ably and humbly second this bill to be read a third time. Thank you very much, sir.
Senator Bikule Amosu.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ibikunle Amosu, I represent Ogun Central. Let me join my colleague in commending the effort of the sponsor of this bill, Senator Francis Alemekene. Mr. President, in supporting this bill, let me bring to light some of the things that probably will make it very difficult for one not to support it. Education is key. Education is critical. I've always argued that without education, there clearly will not be any other thing. They call it social, economic development or what have you. It is education that forms the bedrock of any development. Indeed, once education is fixed, all other sectors, all facets of human endeavor will be fixed. And in supporting this bill, I want to echo what has been said, that this is not a new institution. Indeed, even though the time of when Federal Polytechnic Auchi was established is not stated here, but clearly these are institutions that is even probably about 40 years old or so. So it is not just a new institution that is being clamored for. And the mover of this bill clearly listed and listed all of those institutions that have followed the same path. Indeed, we will see a chronology of both local and even international institutions. But let me say, Mr. President, the whole world is moving, and that's why I'm excited about this. The whole world is now technology driven, and we can't be left behind. So this initiative is one that should be applauded, one that should be supported. He has said we all know what happened to Yaba Tech. Yaba Tech now is a degree awarding institution. also is Kaduna Polytechnic. And I want to believe that Auchi Polytechnic should follow suit. Mr. President, just for the record, in 2017, Moshood Abiola Polytechnic migrated, which we went to the NUC, and we migrated to Moshood Abiola University of Science and Tech. And when you look at what he said, STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, it is just to give our people, particularly our younger ones, the opportunity to fall in line, so to say, the opportunity to play according to world best practices, such that what happens in probably in China, in India, in US, in Europe, of course, we will not left behind. So, Mr. President, in supporting this bill, I want to say that my other colleagues should do same, such that the City University, that's the only one that I didn't understand the name, City University of Technology. I would have loved it to still be the Auchi, but City will mean you want everybody to be part of it and will not just be maybe localized and say it's just for Auchi people. On these very few words, Mr. President, I want to support this bill and that it should be read second time and be forwarded to the appropriate committee for further consideration and eventual passage. Thank you, Mr. President.
Deputy Senate Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. My dear colleagues, while I rise to support this bill, I must say that I'm worried at the number of federal universities because of the financial burden. Right now, we are complaining that 80% of our budget is on recurring budget, on recurring expenditure. The way we are, approving or establishing universities worries me. Secondly, I want to also plead that as this polytechnic migrates to university status, they should keep to the focus, which is STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Even some universities that were established to be Federal University of Technology now produce graduates in marketing, administration, and all those courses that are not related to technology. And that is creating a crisis in the labor market. And I hope that when our Polytechnic migrates to become a university, it will remain a polytechnic focused on STEM. That is just my own concern, and I hope this will be taken into consideration. And I also believe that the NUC and the Ministry of Education should look at the curriculum structure of many of our universities. University of Agriculture that are supposed to be specialized in agriculture are, awarding degrees in areas that are not related to agriculture. So I hope we'll be like the Chinese. Somebody referred to China. China, 80% of their graduates are in science and engineering. The same thing in Japan. Japan, 80% of their graduates are in science and engineering. That is why those countries are moving forward, because technology is very important as a tool for social development. No matter the policy we have on diversification of our economy, if we do not promote science and technology that will drive development, will not be making any impact. Father, having said this, Mr. President, I still support this bill, and I recommend it for second reading. Thank you.
I put the question. Those in favor that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the City University of Technology, Auchi, and for other related matter thereof, 2019, second reading.
A bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the City University of Technology, Auchi, and for other related matters thereof, 2019, second reading taken. and the bill is referred to the Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund to report back within 4 weeks. Thank you very much, distinguished colleagues. I think the point raised by the Deputy Senate Leader is a very important point, and our Committee on Tertiary Education particularly should be looking into that direction, that universities that have specialized mandate, University of Agriculture or University of Technology, should be restricted to providing degrees and other certificates in those areas that are supposed to be their core mandates, rather than delving into the general environment of providing degrees, even in sociology and so on and so forth. I think this is one thing that our Committee on Tertiary Institutions should be able to take up with Federal Ministry of Education and NUC and any other statutory stakeholder that is supposed to be involved in this, because it is really very important that we are able to prepare for our tomorrow. If we want to develop, we have to provide the critical mass of the manpower that we need, and we cannot do without getting into science and technology, as already discussed here in the Senate on this bill. Thank you very much. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fourth order of the day is the second reading of the Federal College of Education, Esugbenu, Irua, Edo State Establishment, etc. Bill 2019. The distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Tuesday, 29th October 2019. Mr. President, we may wish to invite Senator Clifford Odia to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Senator Clifford Odia.
Mr. President, my very distinguished colleagues, I'm Senator Clifford Akimemona Odia, representing Edo Central Senatorial District. I rise to lead the debate on the establishment of Federal College of Education, Sugbunu Irua, SB 128. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, please permit me to lead the debate on this very important bill, which seeks to provide for the establishment of the Federal College of Education, Sugbunu Irua, Edo State. This bill was read for the first time in these hallowed chambers on Tuesday, 29th October 2019. Mr. President of the Senate and my distinguished colleagues, we all know that education is the bedrock of every modern society. The existence of a sound and robust educational system in any country is predicated on the availability of qualified and well-trained teachers to impart the required knowledge on the students. Thus, the need to have a strong system in the educational sector that shall continuously provide well-qualified and trained teachers as it is obtainable in other developed countries cannot be overemphasized. The object of the college, among others, include 1. To encourage the advancement of learning to all persons without distinction of race, creed, sex, or political conviction. B. To develop and offer academic and professional programs leading to the award of certificate, first degrees, postgraduate research, diploma, and higher degrees with emphasis on planning, developmental and adaptive skill in education, technology, applied science, agriculture, commerce, arts, social science, humanities, management, and allied professional disciplines. C. To produce socially matured educational men and women with capabilities not to only understand educational need of Nigeria as a nation, but also to exploit existing educational infrastructure and improve on it to develop new ones. D. To act as agent and catalyst for effective educational system through postgraduate training, research and innovation for effective economic utilization and conservation of the country's human resources. E. To bring a quality change in education by focusing on teacher education through teaching and learning innovations. F, to collaborate with other national and international institutions involved in training, research, and development of education with a view to promoting governance, leadership, and management skills among educational managers. And G, to identify educational needs of society with a view to finding solutions to them within the context of overall national development. And H, to provide and promote sound basic education training as a foundation for the development of Nigeria, taking into account indigenous culture and the need to enhance national unity. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the enactment of this bill will help in transforming the educational fortune in Nigeria, in producing the desired manpower and expertise that Nigeria is yearning for in the area of teaching profession. Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues, the establishment of this institution will create a favorable atmosphere for the educational development of our country. In line with Order 77.3 of the Senate Standing Rule 2015 as amended, a compendium of the financial implication of the establishment of the college is hereby attached. The bill was extensively debated in the Senate and approved and got the needed support during public hearing. It should be remembered that one of the cardinal goals of this administration of change is the strong development of our educational sector. In view of the above, I urge you all to support the expeditious passage of this bill. I so submit, Mr. President.
Senator Ibrahim Gobir.
Your Excellency, distinguished colleagues, I rise to support this motion, heavily moved by my junior colleague in the profession, that's Engineer. You see, the importance of the establishment of this institution cannot be overemphasized. Because if you look at exactly the main reason why the institution should be established, to provide teachers, to educate people, to make sure that at least there is a balanced system within the state. So I think it does not require much discussion. Everybody should support this, and I therefore support it.
Senator James Manager, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues. James Ebiowo, Manager, Delta South. Mr. President, I also rise to support this bill sponsored by Senator Clifford Odia, representing Edo Central, about the need to establish a federal college of education in Osugbeni, Irua, Edo State, and the south part of Nigeria. Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues, for national development to be complete, this bill about grooming the teaching profession is very key. We have supported bills for the establishment of universities. But this one is about what happens below the university system. And of course, when you talk about educating people to become teachers, but the teaching profession still remains the greatest profession all over the world. Because it's from the teaching profession that you have lawyers, it's from the teaching profession that you have engineers like himself and that of Gobe, it's from the teaching profession that you have almost all other professionals. So the establishment of this particular school to groom and educate people who now turn out to be teachers is very key. So, Mr. President, the reasons for this, the establishment of this university, has canvassed on the body of the lead debate from A to H. They are very, very clear. So, Mr. President, I support this bill, and I urge all my other colleagues to support this bill. It's an important bill, in my humble view, and I want everybody to support the bill. Thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity.
I'll put the question. Those in favor that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal College of Education, Usugbenu, Irua, Edo State, and for other matters connected therewith, 2019, second reading.
A bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal College of Education, Usugbenu, Irua, Edo State, and for other matters connected there with 2019, second reading taken, and the bill is referred to the Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund to report back within 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues. The fifth order of the day is a motion standing in the name of distinguished Senator Sadiq Suleiman Umar and 21 others on the need to pay attention to the plight of border communities in Nigeria. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Suleiman Sadiq Umar to move the motion.
Senator Sadiq Suleiman Umar.
Mr. President, my most distinguished colleagues, I am Sadiq Suleiman Umar. I represent the good and decent people of Kwara North. I rise to move the motion that there is need to pay attention to the plight of border communities in Nigeria. With me are senators representing states with border communities, with an unacceptable error of omission of Senator Sani Musa and Senator Ibikunle Amoso. The Senate knows that there exists a border.
So far, the Senate has passed for second reading all the 4 bills brought before it, seeking a second reading for establishment of some tertiary institutions in different parts of the country. This is in keeping with the focus of this administration, which has identified education as a key component of economic development, which will take Nigerians to the next level. On behalf of the outside broadcast crew, I am Vivian Itekpefo, and we return you to normal transmission.
My name is Aminu Goronyo. I am the National President of Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, RIFAN, the biggest commodity association in Nigeria and by extension in Africa. I have 12.2 million rice farmers under my platform. The issue of border closure, to me and to RIFAN as an association, does not just limit within what benefit our farmers are getting. It goes beyond that. The importance of border closure is about Nigeria and Nigerians. And in no distant time, Nigerians will begin to see the importance of border closure, because we cannot continue to be dancing to the tune of other people.
Such a good girl. What is here for her? You know what I offer this girl. Let Uncle Patrick help your Ogoma.
Rider!
Stay here.
They took me away from my village. They sold me to a life of slavery and abuse.
I know who you are. You're that scared little girl that escaped through the jungle.
I'm Tony, and you are...
Thirsty.
All right,
we got? Stop human trafficking.
Agent, let's kill this thing.
Don't you ever bring threats to my happy home again. I'll take care of this personally.
Muna, tell me, what do you want?
You like your eggs over easy?
There are no evil men. You're weak, and weak don't thrive.
I don't want to talk about work. I want to talk about you. I hardly know anything about you.
I can tell you who.
You are. Tell Luca that he's next.
Love makes people do stupid things.
I feel giddy.
Sounds like love to me.
Days away. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet, and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
My name's Mr. Muftau Abiodun Balogun. We started this business 4 years ago, and this is the production outlet where we do about 4,000 to 5,000 birds per day. With the closure of the border recently, we've been experiencing massive surge in demand. Our sales per day now is going to be between 15 to 20,000 birds. We needed to expand all avenues because of the multiplier effect it's creating. And the most interesting thing about this closure is that many of my farmers today are farmers we recruited recently, and they are young graduates. What the government is doing will lead us right. And I can tell you, if the government sustains this thing, sky will not even be our limit.
Royalty remains an integral part of lives of numerous communities across the world. The mode of operation differs from place to place, and roles played by royal fathers in running affairs of emirates and chiefdoms, among others, is enormous. Such is the case in the Kifi Emirate. Kifi is an emirate with its headquarters in Kefi Town, Nasarawa State, north-central Nigeria. The emirate is one with an interesting history. The antecedent that led to the establishment of Kefi is that of bravery and gallantry.
The history of Kefi Emirate can be traced to as far back as 1798, when a Fulani herdsman by name Malam Abdullahi, who is a prince of Yantumaki in Namusa local government of Katsina State, left home along with other relations and associates. They came southwards into this territory with their cattle, harboring the greener pastures on this terrain. After coming to what is now Kefi, he killed a lion, and on killing the lion, decided to establish a community, having a gauge in his own wisdom that this terrain is a place that has a good omen, and the good omen is the lion that he killed.
After the establishment of Kefi, Abdezanga saw the need to pledge loyalty to Shah Othman and Fodio, as his founding of Kefi coincided with advent of Jihad of Othman and Fodio. On his way to Sokoto, however, the Emir of Zazzau at that time gave him a Jihad flag, which he said he had collected on behalf of Abdezanga. So, Kefi at that time became an indirect satellite town of the Zazzau Emirate. By 1838, the Kefi Emirate ceased to be under the Zazzau Emirate and had direct contact with the Sokoto Caliphate. In 1902, Kefi Emirate gained international recognition following its resistance to colonization.
When Prince Ibrahim Magaji Danya Musa, the leader of Kefi native regiment and a powerful slave raider, engaged a British resident by name Captain Maloney and killed him at the Emir's Palace on the 2nd day of October 1902. That marked the beginning of resistance to colonialism in Black Africa and to the British imperialism and dominant rule.
The outcome of the resistance was that Kefi got the wrath of the British, which led to a 50-year development embargo on the emirate. From inception in 1802, when Abdezanga became the first emir of Kefi to date, Kefi is witnessing the reign of 15 emirs. Amongst the past emirs, the three longest-serving emirs in ascending order were Jibrin Bawa, who ruled for 24 years, from 1835 to 1859. Ahmadu Maikoto, who ruled for 29 years, from 1949 to 1978. And the longest-serving emir in the emirates so far, the immediate past emir of Kefi, Alhaji Muhammad Chindoya Musa, whose reign lasted for 37 years, from 1978 to 2015. All these past emirs kept a track record of peace and peaceful coexistence. Indeed, the founding fathers of the emirate did not only wish their reign to succeed, but made it a point of duty to see that the emirate continued to experience peace and tranquility.
Well, first and foremost, once you talk about peace in any kind of community, that attributes to the leadership of that community. If the leadership is good, and the leadership is not biased, the leadership is not that kind of leadership that sees this person's property, you want to hijack it, or you want to go into illicit activities, then there will be peace in that community. And whoever comes around with what is disturbing him, the leadership see to the root of such problems and solve the problems. So we have no reason why Kefi should not be peace. And I think that is why Kefi is a peaceful town right from inception. Because the leadership, right from Abdul Zanga to date, we are happy.
The present and 15th Emir of Kefi is Dr. Shehu Chindoya Musa III. He was born on 4th November 1966 to the family of late Alhaji Muhammad Chindoya Musa II, the immediate past Emir of Kefi and Hajia Fatima Musa. He attended Baptist Primary School Kefi and completed in 1978. He then had his secondary education at Plateau College, Sharang. He obtained Diploma of Law in 1989 at Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, before obtaining a Bachelor of Law, LLB, at Usman Dan Fodio University, Sokoto in 1995. He then proceeded to University of Dundee, Scotland, for his Masters of Law, and later obtained Doctor of Philosophy PhD in Renewable Energy and Sustainable Development from Islamic University, Malaysia. Until his appointment as the Emir of Kefi, he was a senior lecturer at the Nasarawa State University, Kefi. The royal father is today the Chancellor of Nasarawa State University, Kefi.
And there goes the Commissioner of Local Government supporting His Excellency to dress His Royal Highness, the latest bride in the South State Traditional Council.
Dr. Shehu became the Emir of Kefi in 2015, and his colorful coronation and official presentation of the staff of office as a first-class Emir held on August 5, 2017. He is today the Vice Chairman, Nasarawa State Council of Traditional Rulers. Since becoming an Emir, he has extended his hands of friendship and respect other royal fathers across the country, which adds to his wide recognition among traditional rulers in Nigeria. His Royal Highness ascended the throne well equipped, having grown up in the palace. As such, the royal father finds no difficulty in putting forward his set goals for his emirate.
The first thing I would like to achieve as an emir is to have a very peaceful community. I want to continue with the peaceful community that I have inherited from my parents. And Kefi is a unique place that everybody wants to come. So it's a challenge because every day visitors come here in order to control the issue of peace. And secondly, I want Kefi to be one of the most successful places in business and education, because this historic town has a background of education. It's an educational community, because it's a community that is hosting second secondary school in northern Nigeria. The first one was Barewa College, the second one is Kefi Government College. So that is why one of the things that I'm promoting is education. I have sent some people on scholarship, both in local universities here and abroad. And this year I'm going to send some people.
Alhaji Dr. Shehu Chindoya Musa has a great deal of experience. His royal background is being